bindings, most likely will not. This is actually silk. People call it Petersham. This is actually silk grain pass-through machine, so it looks like Petersham. So it looks like. So we'll talk about this later on. Never mind. They will not be like that. It will not be so. Probably more of a cotton, like a polished cotton, or just a cotton bow and binding around the edge. And the wall thing, if you look, the wall shape will actually be different. See that shape? It's quite flat. And I curled it up more. It was not very lively initially. It was very hard to do. You really need irons and blocks to do it. I wanted it to be completely curled up to look like an older style. It would be more cut. So basically, this brim. Let one do some measurements there. So this hat is a 56.5, which would actually be my height, my size, if I wanted to wear it. Probably as it was intended to be worn back in the 30s when this was made, which means high. Not super high, it's not any question high, but kind of like here. But I like to wear it here, so then it needs to be 57.5 as a half. We'll measure these. Because obviously, as I mentioned that, the higher the hat is worn, the less tall, the less height is required to the crown to look tall, because also it is worn high. Because the first bowlers had had a straighter, more top hat-like crown, but it was still rounded, so the idea it was not so much making a round crown like here, whereby here it is really, look, it is round. It was more, it simply has to deflect the branches. It was not to try for it not to get knocked out. And yet a short crown, but it cannot be super short. No, it has to be very short, because being an equestrian hat, I explained why it would be very high. Not here, like the other hats were worn, but here, very high. Like here, very, very high. So that would all equal a very short crown. On top of that, people were very small, so even shorter. But I mean, even if it had been made for me, clearly shorter than that. And that is not high. If you look at the 1890s ball table, that is not high for like a town bowler. It's kind of the height there is 10 centimeters with my I have a ruler with inches. This is half the length. So if I look at the crown height, it's hard to really tell. This starts off once. I have to pick. If I go to the very top, it will be about 5, just about, I would say 5. The twins have been more than 5 inches and like 5.2.3 inches. So it's probably much smaller, especially that it did not. This one really starts to taper down to deflect and round up, almost basically just halfway where it rounds up. With these, really just went, and then the brim there is probably 2 inches. They say the brim is often 2 inches. Yeah, the brim is about 2-inch brim. Now the brim with these hats, as you may see, it is a very complicated brim to make, because they have to cut this side much longer than here, because here with the toliker, it's called T-O-L-I-K-E-R, they have 2 types of colicers used to make them. See here, it is turned upon itself, and it is held by the use of a reed to basically just turn it very tight. This is very hard to make, much harder than this part, because it is so tight. But this only came late. Initially, I was doing it for toppers. Like, let me see if that one. Yeah, that one has it. Especially in Britain, they started doing it for derbies later on, more in the early 1900s, perhaps 1910s. Perhaps, yeah, 1910s. Yeah. But so, because this is also turned upon itself, which is called a D'Orsay curl, which initially was first created apparently by Comte d'Orsay in France, and initially was I think only on the sides here, I think in 1828 or something, and it was only for toppers. So, before that it was only pencil curl. So pencil curl, my understanding, is just this, just the brim is curled, not the edge of the brim, which is much easier to do. When the edge of the brim is curled, one calls it a D'Orsay curl. Now, in different ways, some of them, the less it is curled upon itself, the less hard it is to do, and the more you will see all of them. So, because it's really flat and on top of it have that, this was hard to do. To develop this later on, so on the first, I would call it cook hat, I was talking about, I'm almost certain they would not have done it in the front, but they might have done it on the side. Perhaps not. Maybe not actually. Maybe it was simply like, now this hat has lost all shape and whatever, but kind of, this one is still alright, so you can see it here. It might have been stuck to the crown like here, so it was very small and sporty and good for the speed and not to get knocked out. So kind of as if that one was here. But if anything, apparently the crown I told you here was more than 5. The crown was probably max 4. We made a max of 4-inch crown, which would mean the top of the crown ends here, with my finger points, versus here, so it does on a small height line, it makes a complete difference. But it would not have looked as short as if that had been the same shape than that, because again it did not deflect and curve halfway through the crown like it does here. Because it was straighter, it would somehow give one the impression that the crown is only half an inch max shorter, but really it is much shorter than that. It is more than 1 inch shorter. And so to keep everything in balance, the brim will not be a 2-inch. This is, it says more than 2-inch there, but I have to start the ruler. Yeah, I can actually measure it better from the underneath. If I measure the inside of the crown, if I measure it from the inside, the crown is just more than 5-inch, but the brim is just above 2 inches on the side. It's 2.4 inch. It's the same there. In the back. Actually, this was the back. The 7, the equal length. It was probably more a 1 inch and 8 and 1.8 inches. Like almost 2 inches. 1.5 to 1.8 inches. Like. See. This. You see 1.8. You see this is the 2 there, the red thing. More like on my topper. I think my topper has clearly got a shorter brim. That would be the true original here. My topper is just below 2. And it's clearly shorter already. It's quite clear that it is shorter. So it will be even probably shorter than that. And then very curled up, so it will look very different overall, quite different. Very curled up sides, which gives the impression of an even shorter brim, I mean, it will probably be curled almost, probably until here, like kind of Western-like, which would inevitably, Well, no, because